events ezifana lezi zibaluleke kakhulu, especially ukuthi communicators ziyasinceda isuke sekhipha nokusempowerisha ukwenze ukuqinisekisa into ba i-system ye-communications ihlale se-updated ngayo and nendlela yethu yokwenza izinto ezi-communicators ihlale indlela e-right emitha i-target ekufuneka simithile, especially i-stakeholders ekufuneka sizichaphazele generally kwi-communication system. So zibaluleke kakhulu, so we hope for the best.
This conference obviously provides a platform for all communicators to make a contribution. Obviously, it gives every municipality an opportunity to get the latest and to learn from industry experts and get the best, get to learn from the best.
Lochani Dumelang and welcome to SALGA TV. Today's episode brings you a special edition covering the SALGA 8th National Communicators Forum in the Eastern Cape. The National Communicators Forum is a critical platform where municipal communicators, thought leaders and policymakers come together to influence the local government communication agenda and drive impactful change. The theme for this year's National Communicators Forum focuses on amplifying the voices of municipal communicators and driving change. Bunolo Selebano, our correspondent, got to speak to some delegates and speakers. Let's get right into it.
So colleagues, today is important, and in fact the next 2 days are important because we are here to reflect on the key role municipal communicators play in telling the story of local government. And I'm utilizing the words, the story of local government.
Mr. CEO, you gave an address earlier this morning. Could you give us some of the key points of your address to delegates?
Firstly, let's just commend the effort that has been made by colleagues. My understanding is that this is the 8th edition where communicators from all 257 municipalities meet. They meet and they gather to share knowledge and information amongst themselves. So it's a community of best practice, and they're trying to unpack how are they doing their work, how are they communicating internally in their respective municipal institutions, but also how are they communicating in the communities that they serve as different municipalities, and importantly, how are they communicating the local government message to the broader world. That broader world is our counterparts in the provincial sphere of government, in the national sphere of government, the business community, community organizations. So anybody that is utilizing or consumes information from municipalities through the communicators, that's what they are here to do. And I'm quite excited.
What do you hope that communicators gathered here will take back with them to their respective municipalities at the end of the forum?
The importance of local government, the sacrosanct nature of local government. They themselves, by the way, they are members of the community. They are recipients and customers of local government services. So they are not here to only represent their municipalities. They're also here to represent the communities that they live in. So in one way or the other, they are the bench strength of SALGA. I did say that if this was a rugby game, I would be saying that the communicators, they are our bomb squad. And that's how they should see themselves. They're important. They mustn't want or wait to be called to the municipal manager's office or in the structure of the municipality. We are there, you know. No, it's not about that. It's about understanding that you have to do the work. You are impactful where you are. Everybody wants to be close to the echelons of decision making, whether it is at the mayor level or at the municipal or the city manager level. That's neither here nor there. What matters is do your work and enjoy the work. And I think that's the key thing that I hope that they are going to be able to share amongst themselves.
Especially the two districts that they visited, there is about 8 community radio stations. Then they said, this is where local government should be. And I think this
These guidelines that I'm talking about, they have that as another takeaway. So from a legislative point of view, how then we may instill those into a very user-friendly local government communicators handbook of the future. Thanks.
Started off nicely with the Deputy President opening the session, and we had a bit of a reflection on the progress in communication.
My morning has been very informative, and we've been engaging on a lot of initiatives we could take and things we could implement when we go back home, especially on the issue of revenue enhancement and the role that communicators have to play to ensure that we enhance revenue for local government.
Also looking at various platforms of communication and balancing the act in terms of not only using traditional media but also giving it that balance in terms of also adapting to modern type of communication, using your AI to disseminate information to our communities.
I'm dealing with some of the legal issues at municipalities. So I think it's important for communicators to communicate effectively in terms of what's happening with some of the legal issues that our municipalities are facing. So I think I benefited a lot from hearing how the communicators work in terms of events like this.
I'm Gondile Kedama. I'm the head of communications in Mangaung Metro.
And sir, tell us, how has the program been for you so far?
Look, it's fine. It's an annual thing. I think this is the 6th forum, but there's always a room for improvement. For example, I would like to see a situation where we have provincial activities and that the national forum should be the culmination of what has happened into the province, so that at least you have those individual municipalities making their inputs, participating, and actually bring into the table some of their frustrations, because communication is one complex area.
Mm-hmm. And having listened to the keynote address and also the panel discussions, what has been the main highlight for you on the program so far?
Yeah, the main highlight has been the input of the CEO, Mr. Mbangwa, when he was saying challenges of the municipalities are the same. They only manifest themselves differently. So for me, that was a great statement that says our challenges are the same. How we tackle those unique ones is up to us. But again, if you get the support of your both administrative and political leadership as a communicator, as a communications directorate or sub-directorate, it becomes easier for you to work, and this is exactly what is happening in Mangaung. In Mangaung, we get the necessary support. Yes, we've got a problem of resources here and there, and I'm sure we are having an opportunity of improving based on the type of support we get.
Mm-hmm. And what do you hope to take back with you to your respective municipality at the end of this 2-day forum?
Look, I respect the ideas that comes. The reason that one continues to come annually, it is because you want to hear and see what are your counterparts doing, what are they saying. Because you can't be a monopoly of wisdom. You need new ideas, there are new players in the game, and those are ideas that you must take, because if you don't listen to the sound at your back, you are bound to miss the point. So for me, what is important, it is to understand what is happening in the space, what are the new things, what are the new ideas, because what has kept us in the game for such a long time, it is because we continue to learn. If you are open to learning, development every day, you are bound to succeed.
Great. Thank you once more for being here with us.
No, thanks a lot.
Great.
You're welcome, sir.
Let's see some more highlights.
I think where we are, celebrating also 30 years of democracy, and we have to intensify service delivery and use communications as a key element of translating the message of government and improving how we actually inform, empower, and also consult communities.
I was part of the breakaway session for the digital section, so I quite like that, and I like the commitment from SALGA that they were going to produce some sort of AI platform for government to use, an AI that would be able to address our needs, and an AI that we would be able to trust, and that would be quite easy for all municipalities and other government stakeholders to be able to use.
We come from a DLA in the Eastern Cape. It's a rural setup, and as such it requires quite a lot of creativity. But in the process of introducing these methods that were introduced today, we also have to be mindful of the dynamics that exist within our communities, meaning it needs to be a mixed approach, both traditional methods of communication as well as the new methods of communication, so that we don't leave anyone behind.
I am Nebagazi Kolwane, the Manager Communications from Nyandeni Local Municipality in the Eastern Cape in Libode.
Great. And how has the forum been for you so far?
The forum is reviving. I've been reminded of my role as a government communicator. Not to say that I had forgotten it, but when I'm calling it a revival is that we have been reminded that the hope of local government is in us. The trust that people have lost in government is dependent on us to be revived. So that's how I feel. I'm ready to go back home now and do my job, so that, yeah.
Fantastic. So we heard a keynote address as well. Panel debates have been going on as well. What was the main highlight for you for the program so far?
Well, the main highlight for me was that the issue of participatory governance has been emphasized. We cannot just be communicators that are practicing a one-way sided kind of communication, but we must encourage communities to be involved. Communities must participate in the business of government through us, by us giving them information and engaging them, making sure that they understand the business of government and that which local government is busy with. So that has been the highlight for me, that we must go back and engage communities as much as we can.
Great. And what do you hope to take back with you to your respective municipality once this program ends?
Well, my take home is that we need to learn more channels, more ways of reaching out to our communities, because we are serving vast and different communities with different levels of knowledge. And now we need to make use of different communication platforms and communication tools that will be able to reach each and every one of our audience, each and every one of our community members, literate or illiterate. Hence, it's important that we make use of traditional forms of communication and the digital forms of communication to ensure that we are effective. Because if we don't diversify our communication efforts, we will end up reaching one particular group. If, for instance, we would say we are majoring only on social media, then we'll be leaving out a certain group. And you understand that our communities are really vast in nature. So I have learned that we must diversify our communication efforts. We must use various platforms in order to reach out to our people, to ensure that our messages do reach them. Because primarily what we want to do is to reignite the confidence that they have lost in governance. Because people have lost governance not because government is not doing anything, but we are doing less of that which is expected of us as government communicators.
Fantastic, and thank you for being here with us as well.
Most welcome.
The first day of the NCF culminated with an awards ceremony to recognize the best communication outputs in the municipal space. Let's have a look at the highlights of the awards. One thing is clear, communication is evolving, and so must we. Let's catch some more highlights.
Morning, my name is Sivengo Simtia. I'm Communications for Mhlaba Municipality. What I'm led from yesterday is just as a reminder the role we are playing to ensure that we improve the lives of our communities, and also what strategies we can employ to ensure that we do our job, and also what can we take from service delivery as well as issues that we have like disasters. How can we communicate disasters to ensure that we empower our communities every day with information they need to ensure that how to prevent those disasters, the impact it have in our communities.
The most important thing for me yesterday was the segmentation model, or the issue about who our audiences are and how the presentation from a researcher showing us different types of audiences, how do you reach them and where they are located, and a number of platforms that one can use. I think that was a big takeaway for me.
I think we wasted 30 years in South Africa talking about the political aspect of local government and missed an opportunity to talk about the business of a municipality.
We now speak to the Provincial Director of Operations from SALGA Eastern Cape, Mr. Sonwabo Gek. Welcome to SALGA TV.
Thank you for having me.
So, tell us a bit about your view on the role and importance of communication in local government.
Well, local government is an important sphere of government in South Africa. I would imagine everybody knows that we have 3 spheres of government, and the closest to the people is local government. And to the people, government is government. It doesn't matter which sphere of government. So we need a more potent communication capability in local government, because we want to create a capability of communicators in local government that are able to communicate on just about every public policy.
Now, considering the challenges in local government, how does SALGA envision strengthening municipal communication structures so that they can bridge the gap between municipalities and their citizens?
Look, you're talking about 2 things. You're talking about the importance of municipalities appreciating the strategic importance of communication. We've done it on several aspects in the sector. A few years back, we didn't have internal audit executives. We really didn't have risk management, quality assurance. And these are areas that have been discussed in SALGA, and all municipalities agreed that we need to embed these in the oversight continuum. So I think we need to do the same for communication. If there's anything I would like to emphasize for this forum, is not to set itself up as separate from the system. In other words, you ought not to constitute yourselves as a stakeholder, but rather embed yourself as part of the system, so that it does not become a matter of communicators wanting this, but rather the local government system wanting to invest in communication as a strategic area of investment. I do want to think that we may need to bring communicators with ICT personnel closer, so that we make websites of municipalities much more useful, interactive, sufficiently loaded with latest information, so that we not only comply with the requirement for a website, but also use the website as part of the front desk in terms of our interaction with the public.
And what have been some of your key takeouts from the today NCF?
I think it's just over 7 years now that we started with this forum. It has matured. It has become the go-to platform for communicators. I think it remains an important platform. I would suggest very strongly that we invest in differentiation. The complexity of communications in bigger and more complex municipalities is much more different than smaller urban and rural municipalities, so that we sort of create sufficient space for people who are operating at the same kind of areas of challenge to interface much more closely and share experiences. I still think that your appetite as the forum to interact with journalists is an important element to it, enables the municipality to keep the public informed.
Quite insightful. Thank you so much, Sonwabo. That's all we have time for today. Please enjoy the rest of the NCF.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
my view is if GCIS would absorb all government communicators, thus forcing that 1% to 5% of each municipality's equitable share automatically gets transferred to GCIS for the implementation of communications initiatives for those municipalities.
That will be my prayer to communicators to say, let us take our role, let us take the responsibility to ensure that ultimately we advocate for that 1 to 5% of the institutional budget allocated to the communication function. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is TD Madia. I'm a journalist by profession.
Ms. Madia, how has the 2025 edition of the National Communicators Forum been for you?
So it's my first time at the National Communicators Forum. It's been quite interesting. I came here looking forward to hearing what do communicators think. I'm a journalist. We have a perception of what they think of their job or how seriously they take their job. So it's quite refreshing to see that they actually care. Often we think they don't care. So it was quite a revelation to see just how much care they put into their work and consideration into what the challenges are, what their own hindrances are, and the difficulties in trying to do their jobs on a day-to-day basis. So for me, it really was a learning chapter, and I knew I'd learned something, and that's kind of what I got out of it, is understanding that there's passion and care on the other side, and that there's also difficulty on the other side beyond budgets and the different roles that they can play to help municipalities. There's difficulty even in helping municipalities be understood by communities and the media. So there's a lot that I took away, a lot that I didn't know about the other side that I walk away from here with.
And what were the main highlights over the last 2 days?
I think it's about the collaborative efforts that they recognize they need to do a lot of. It's also understanding that we are not an adversary, and I kept saying that myself to some of the communicators, that to understand that we work hand in hand to serve people. So I do take that away, because that was a sentiment expressed quite often here. I take the hurdles more seriously. I understand, but I also take with me the desire, and I could see it and I could hear it, to find ways to do better, to find ways to service communities better, to communicate a local government position better, to also want to thrive. They, like their counterparts in other spheres of government, they also want to do well.
Yeah.
Citizens understand government from what they interact with, and they interact with local government. That's why they say it's the coal face of government. So there is an understanding of that. There is a desperation, a desire to bridge that gap. So seeing that and looking at the different avenues and looking forward by the participants here to the changing face of local government. So as it becomes more modernized, there's an eagerness to go on that journey. As they speak about President Ramaphosa's white paper proposition at the SONA, they're excited about what that means. So it's all of that, the anticipation of what could be to better local government is my takeaways.
And what do you hope that the public sector communicators gathered here take back with them to their respective government institutions?
I go back to that point where we're not your adversaries, not the media, not the community you serve. That, again, collaborative effort takes us so much further than when we're working against each other. I also take away the point where many of them say to each other, don't work in a silo, don't have a crisis on your own. And I also take that, by the way, there's a section on disaster management. That is a changing face of local governments. And the fact that they've put that on the agenda and are trying to figure out how do you address this is important. And the fact that you're not just dealing with an incident, but you must actually prepare around a risk. That's the conversation they're having. That's really refreshing. And for me, as a journalist who would then see the incident, I feel almost reassured that there's an understanding that when the snow randomly comes in the summer, when the floods are what they are, there was a conversation, there's a strategic consideration that has to be done about what do you do, even from a communication perspective. So those are some of the things I take away with me from this week.
Ms. Madia, thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
At its core, the National Communicators Forum is about strengthening the bridge between government and the people. But what are the key themes this year, and why is this forum so crucial in today's rapidly evolving media landscape? Let's hear from SALGA Chief Operations Officer, Mr. Lance Jewell.
In this room, we are sitting with people that are all municipalities, because you and I know that the code of conduct does not allow you to do so beyond the 3-month period.
Could you introduce your name and designation?
Well, my name is Lance Joel. I am from the South African Local Government Association, the Chief of Operations.
How has the 2025 edition of the National Communicators Forum been for you?
Well, I think it's always exciting to convene communicators from across the country. That's the first excitement, is just having them present. Secondly, it was the menu for conversation and the areas that we could reflect on as communicators. So exciting 2 days, and already looking forward to the next edition.
And what were the main highlights for you over the last 2 days?
Well, as a starting point, it is always useful to hear from municipalities, hear from those that are dealing with these issues on a daily basis, and see what type of support as an association representing them we could direct to them. So it's always good to hear from municipalities. But in terms of the areas for conversation, for instance, municipal debt, which is a huge issue, 386 billion owed to municipalities, and hearing communicators talking about what is their role to assist municipalities to collect that. So for me, that was a very interesting conversation.
And what do you hope that the delegates who gathered here for the last 2 days take back with them to their respective municipalities, government departments and entities?
Well, at the core of the existence of this forum is to share knowledge, but also to learn from others. And I'm really hoping that, in particular on the topic that I've mentioned, municipal debt, and the exciting initiatives introduced by municipalities, others will walk away and try and implement those at home. That's the starting point. But secondly, it is for these communicators to connect so that on an ongoing basis, as they are experiencing their own challenges in doing their work, they could easily pick up the phone, call a colleague that they would have met, and ask them, have you experienced something similar? How did you respond? And how can I look at addressing this particular weakness? So it is a combination of going and implementing what you have heard, but also connecting with others so that going forward, there is a big brother you can call.
Great, Mr. Joel, thank you very much for being here with us.
It's a pleasure.
The importance of the communication function in a democratic and developmental society cannot be overstated. That is why the SALGA National Communicators Forum is such a critical platform for communicators to deliberate on the opportunities and the challenges of their profession. The SALGA National Communicators Forum was insightful and practical. That's all we have time for this episode. To stay up to date with local government developments, please follow us on our social media pages. From me, your host, Meralda, Umdazana Gwasibanyoni, Nisale Kamnandi.